Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm calling the meeting to order. We do need to add on under new business number 5. At the request of Randy, appoint Complete Streets member, Klaus Prom to Complete Streets. Okay, so, I'm not sure what we should do. We were expecting, Matt Welch to do a quick presentation on the Church Creek Manufactured Home Community. Do we want to have Lee text him and ask him if he could call in and do it by phone? Or do we want to table this until next month? Thoughts?
Is he not coming for sure?
He's supposed to be on Zoom, but we can't.
Technical.
Heidi says she's in the waiting room, but there's nobody in the waiting room.
It's not showing.
Or something.
So shall we try to get him on the phone and do that right at the beginning of the agenda?
Wants to get started. Yeah, why?
Yeah,
Let's hear him.
okay.
What phone?
He can call my phone. 244-9470. So we'll move that item, number 3 under new business right up to the beginning of the meeting.
He said he might be in a few minutes after anyway, earlier, so.
I can't hear you.
He said he may be logging in a few minutes late.
The problem is, yeah,
He hasn't answered my text yet, is what I'm saying. So I
Okay.
haven't gotten a response, but I'll ask him to call you.
okay. All right, so why don't we move forward until we hear from him? First item on the agenda is approval of minutes, the organizational meeting of 1/13/25. Is there a motion? Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye. Aye, carried. Correspondence. We have 3 correspondence. The first one we received from, James Blackburn. He's with the Rensselaer Falls Fire Department as an EMT. He sent it, and this is in the public packet. He sent us some really good information on where the emergency medical responders, it's a write-up about the work, the EMS workforce shortage, that's in the packet. And then the growing role of counties in emergency medical services, that's also in the packet. Interesting data, there's a shortage and needs to start being addressed. The second item is we received from FEMA a notification, the notice regarding a funding pause, temporary restraining order. And this is a court order. It's the case of New York versus Trump. And as you know, we've been working with FEMA to try to get reimbursement from the Debbie storm. But these are the, here's the summary, a quick summary. Toby Irvin cannot get in.
Heidi's thinking the link is wrong.
I'm sorry?
Heidi's thinking the link is wrong for the Zoom meeting.
Okay. Is it on the calendar?
It's usually on the notice that goes out.
Okay.
That's where it is.
All right, federal agencies cannot pause, freeze, impede, block, or cancel or terminate any awards. This prohibition applies to all awards and obligations. Agencies may exercise their own authority to pause awards and obligations. And the last one, out of an abundance of caution, all federal agencies should comply with the reference of terms. So we did get that notice. Not only, this might impact FEMA, but also CHIPS money, because that's federal money that comes down, so, that should be documented, and I will give you, Tasha, the notice. The next one is, and I got approval from Duncan Weinberg to be able to share this. That FERC recently issued a new license for the Pirates project. Congratulations on the recreational measures achieved in this license, including Pirates' commitment to working with Canton on developing a recreation management plan, which includes a new impoundment access site on the east shoreline of the impoundment, maintain the Canton Boat Launch as a project facility and improve the existing 250 long trail at the Canton Boat Launch, establish a 5,500-foot-long hand carry boat portage route around an intake dam, install a sign at the impound access at the St. Lawrence Land Trust, Harts Falls Nature Preserve, install signs on the shoreline of the new impoundment access site and Canton Boat Launch to provide information of preventing the introduction and spread of invasive species. And then the recreational management plan will include a schedule for completing the construction and installation of new recreation facilities within 2 years of the license, a description of project recreation facilities and identifications of entities responsible for maintaining the facilities. So I believe we've been working on this for maybe 6 or 7 years, trying to get some services up there and some betterment in the recreation field. So, that's good news. That's really good news. So, thank you, Eric, for, assisting with that as well. So, okay. Just letting some people know that we're having technical difficulties.
I already let Toby know.
I'm sorry,
I already told Toby.
I'm telling Kristen. Okay. So that is the, correspondence. Okay, town finances report. Hey, Angela.
Good evening. The 2025 year has kicked off with the budget. So with any year in the first month, there's not incredible amount to report as far as over and under. The most notable in these financial statements would be that the property taxes are 100% collected at the end of January in the town of Canton and put through the various funds. We are working and have started to work for the year-end reconciliation of, to ensure the accuracy of all the fund balances. I have a particular concern on the DA fund and will work to make sure that the allocation of labor and benefits and such is done. And then I will follow up on that in our report in the month of March. But we are preparing to do that AFR. So that is all happening. Any questions?
I just want to add that we did receive our first quarter sales tax and it was 304,946.48. That's up 17,790 from this time last year. So that's good news. Okay, did you want to report on the clerks?
Sure, I have the town clerk report as well. We did go through and reconcile the month of January. Significant activity in this account dollar wise related to the collection of real property tax. The fee revenue is approximately half of what it was last year, but that is one that ebbs and flows. And everything reconciled and the appropriate monies are paid out at the beginning of February.
Okay, any questions? All right. Thank you, Angela. I just want to say, if you look at the lighting fund balance, we still have that issue that we might want to talk about in the future of the well, now it's up to 12,748, so we should probably talk about that in the future.
We wanna talk about it in the future.
We gotta rectify that somehow. So,
It ain't gonna happen. Hasn't happened.
but should it happen? Okay, audit committee.
Yes.
General fund A, $171,008.70. Balance side B, $2,491.51. DA townwide highway, $52,344.87. DB highway, $14,166.25. Special fire, $257,453.83. Special lighting, $353.29. Trust and agency, $23,903.82.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the expenditures?
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carry. Okay, department reports. Lee since Heidi's not here, everybody has her report. Are there any questions that you want Tasha to go back with? Very good. Okay, why don't we go with Lee?
Yeah, so the village's secondary water source project is nearly complete. The last piece of equipment arrived, middle of January, so we're hoping that that is online by the end of the month, so. We are working on the closeout documentation on the Styles Avenue grant. There's some closeout paperwork and questions and things that need to be completed, and that will be submitted along with the final reimbursement request. This month, I expect. The new LWRP for updating the local waterfront revitalization plan. We had our kickoff meeting with US and learned that since the time we had applied, with an application focusing on an LWRP for the Grass River, that their attorneys have now interpreted the laws to mean that if you do not include every inland waterway within the jurisdiction, it won't be accepted by the state. So we now have to include those portions of the Oswegatchie, that are within the town. We, a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, with a number of other communities, did a step 1 of an LWRP for the Oswegatchie. So a portion of that has already been done. So we would then build this into the scope to complete that. So we have reached out, the town has reached out to Rensselaer Falls to see if they would be interested in participating in this with us. They weren't originally written into it. But, again, their section goes right between the two town sections. For consistency purposes, it would make sense if they are interested to be a part of this, to join in now. So we're waiting for a response on that. So once we've determined if they will be involved or not, we'll be able to better understand what the scope's gonna be and prepare the request for proposal. So that's where we are with that. That was a little bit of a change up for us. But in order for it to be accepted, that's what we need to do. So that's how we intend to proceed. Again, I'm sorry, by the way, Matt Welsh said he's trying to call you, but it went to voicemail. Unless I had the wrong number. Which I don't think I did. I don't. We're looking into grant opportunities for the years we typically do this time of year. We have been speaking with Matt Welsh about potential projects, which hopefully we'll be able to touch base with him a little bit more about that. The Economic Development Steering Committee continues to review the comprehensive plan. We made it through nearly one chapter. We're addressing two chapters. We have a meeting next week. We'll be trying to get through the rest of, we've done most of chapter 3 and we're trying to get through chapter 4, just looking through those, updating them, looking at how those fit with our priorities, and what we want to look at doing this year. As well as asking those partners to think about that and how, their projects could fit into that plan. Or that plan could support their projects, so if they're seeking funding for them, they can be knowledgeable of what those are, we can support each other with letters of support, that type of thing. And the Minor Street and Willow Island grant is also nearly complete, it's nearly dispersed, we, have been going back and forth a little bit on this one and actually learned something a little more today that we need to work through, but it's nearing completion. The deadline for that is April 30th, so we intend to have everything submitted then back by then. Hopefully long before then, but we're getting to the end on that one as well. That's pretty much what I've got.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? All right, so Matt has called. Shall we get him on the phone and do that, and then we'll get back to department reports? Everybody in agreement with that? Okay,
Are you calling him?
I'm sorry.
Are you gonna call him?
Yeah, he's called me twice. I told him I'd call him in a minute.
Oh, you did, okay.
All right, everybody ready? Okay.
Hey, Mary Ann.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. We're having a little technical difficulty with the Zoom, so, if you don't mind, you can talk about the project. Everybody has a copy of the printout. And then we'll go from there, okay?
That sounds great.
All right, everybody, I'd like to introduce, this is Matt Welsh, and he, is going to talk about the Church Creek Manufactured Home Community Improvement Plan. Okay, Matt, the board's here, our attorney's here, our accountant's here, department heads are here, so you're on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Town Supervisor Ashley. Very grateful for the opportunity to meet with you and speak a little bit about the property that I purchased this past October 31st. It's the Church Creek Manufactured Home Community that some of you may be familiar with. It's on Highway 11 and Jamison Road, about 5 minutes south of the village. And I'll give you just a little bit of background about the property and then some possible improvements that I'd love to partner with the town on through a grant application. So the property was built around 50 years ago or so. I have records from the Department of Health that go back to the 1950s or 60s that talk about the number of homes that it was created for and some of the initial steps that were taken to develop water and sewer systems on the property. And there are currently almost 30 residents there, 29 to be exact. And the property has a capacity for around 47 homes. Before I talk anymore, I'll give you just a little bit of background about myself. I own 3 similar properties, including this one. I own a similar property in Tennessee, one in Nebraska, and the Church Creek community in Kansas. And this property has just a ton of potential. It's a real beautiful setting that's located in, very scenic. And it's on private utilities, so well, water, and septic. And over the years, it's had a variety of different owners, and I purchased it from a local family who were engaged with its management. It is around 16 acres. And like I mentioned, it has capacity for around 47 lots. That's according to Department of Health information that goes back several decades. It talked about the sewer system being able to accommodate 47 lots. And though it's in a very scenic location, there is a little bit of deferred maintenance on the property. And we're going to talk a little bit about that now, and a couple of New York State programs that might be suitable for helping with infrastructure and home replacement. So New York State Homes and Community Renewal has a program called the Home Program. And one of the components of this home program is the replacement of what Homes and Community Renewal refers to as substandard manufactured homes. And you can see on the fourth slide, no one lives in these particular homes that I've pictured there. These are abandoned homes. There are several abandoned homes on the property. But it'll give you an idea of what types of homes could potentially be replaced with new manufactured homes. It's a really nice program. And through this, residents would be eligible for receiving new manufactured homes with certain conditions. I, as the property owner, would commit to a period of affordability for at least 10 years and potentially more, which I'd be, of course, happy to do. And the homeowner would be required to continue residing in the home. They wouldn't be able to sell it without selling it to someone who meets certain income restrictions. So that is the home replacement program. And through this program, a resident could potentially receive not only a new manufactured home, but also some infrastructure related to the home, such as a concrete pad, potentially a walkway or a deck, and some other components related to the installation of the home. Then we have water system upgrades. What you see here is a picture of the well house, that little white building, and it doesn't appear very clearly, but you can see a little picture of the interior and some of the components in the well house that are beyond their useful life, and according to the local Department of Health, certainly in need of upgrade. And the home program, as I mentioned, is just one of the two programs through Homes and Community Renewal that we've discussed. The other is the Community Development Block Grant Program, the CDBG program. And I've spoken a little bit with Lee Rodriguez from the Economic Development Office about possibility of infrastructure improvements to the properties through the CDBG program, potentially in collaboration with another local organization, the Development Authority of the North Country, located in Watertown. And we're in early discussions about the possibility of a CDBG proposal, which I would love for your feedback on, and I'm happy to answer any general questions you might have about it after I'm done with the presentation. Next, sewer system upgrades. I'm working with the local Department of Health office in Canton on ensuring that the sewer system is up to standard and can accommodate the number of homes on the property. I've also been in contact with a local engineering firm, and we're planning to do some initial capacity studies this spring once the snow melts. Electric system upgrades. You can see a picture of some of the disconnects. Those are likely 100 amp disconnects that you see. New manufactured homes typically rely on or are required to have 200 amp disconnects. And for safety reasons, it would be really great to upgrade the electric disconnects for each of the homes to 200 amps. improvements, another area of infrastructure that we're looking at, and I've received a quote from a local company for potentially putting down gravel or paving some or all of the internal roads on the property, and installing parking pads for each of the homes that would accommodate 2 cars. We have an initial draft budget together, and it includes some of these items. It also includes items such as streetlights, sort of a wish list. You know, we're trying to get an idea of what we could potentially, how we could potentially improve the property, and what costs would potentially be eligible for community development block grant or home funding. And in general, the timeline that we would be looking at, and this is based on last year's application timeline, the home program open season for applications closed on September 12th, and the CDBG application timeline or open season closed on July 31st. I'll just make one initial comment about, you know, the property and what I see as the owner as its value to the community. It is rent controlled. It's in compliance with New York State regulations for rent control for manufactured home parks, which caps rent increases at 3% per year. And I believe based on that, it provides a really important source of, you know, long-term affordable housing for the community. The rent, just to give you an idea, is currently $269 per month, and that includes water and sewer. The residents pay for their own electricity. And I am happy to answer any questions you might have. Very grateful for Town Supervisor Ashley and Ms. Rodriguez for the initial conversations that I've had about possible home and CDBG funding, and happy to discuss further with you.
Any questions, board members? It's quite the venture. Do you want to talk about the grant now? That's on the agenda, supporting the grant application? Or do you want to wait?
Just a little more, just for your information. The CDBG program is one that has to be sponsored by the municipality, so the town would need to be the applicant and then pass the funding through to the owner of the park. And similar for the home program, it has to be someone other than the owner. It has to be a municipality or a not-for-profit or something to sponsor that application as well, which is why we're working together on this. I want to just make sure that you understood that. And so the CDBG anyway is usually part of the CFA process, which, as Matt said, typically opens in May and ends in July. And it would require a resolution at some point by the board in support of that application. There's several steps to probably require a public hearing and things like that as well. Those haven't been announced yet, but that's typical of what they would expect. So I don't know if you're at the point now, we would have to draft the resolution with more details at that time, but I think he was interested in just knowing if you were supporting the project and willing to work on moving forward and putting things together.
Matt, what do you predict to be the total cost for all of these upgrades?
You know, for the home program, HCR Homes Community Renewal caps funding at $170,000 per home. Now that to me seems quite generous. Although when you talk about the costs associated with installing a new manufactured home, you know, all in, it's possible that it could approach that. In initial conversations that we've had with Homes and Community Renewal, they said they typically recommend starting in an initial initial application with no more than around 5 homes. So that would give you an idea. It would probably be somewhere less than $1 million for home funding. For CDBG, still getting numbers together, but depending on what HCR in the town would be interested in, it could easily, the funding, if we would take a look at upgrades to the well house and the septic system, the electric connections that wouldn't be covered by home, it could easily approach or go over $1 million. Depending on what sorts of infrastructure upgrades we'd be looking at.
And Lee, didn't you share with me the maximum for that pot of money is 1.5 million? As far as the grant?
I don't recall that off the top of my head. I don't recall seeing a whole lot of restrictions on numbers.
Okay,
There's no match requirement, and I
Okay.
don't recall seeing that. I may be wrong. I didn't look at it today, so it's not at the top of my mind, but, I'm not certain.
okay. Okay,
So
Um,
Lee, are these kind of grants that he would have to put the money up first and then being reimbursed afterward?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So the town essentially would just be a pass through and collect all the documentation from him, submit it to the state, receive the money from the state and then distribute it back to
Okay.
them as a reimbursement. Yeah.
any other questions of Matt? Okay, so do we wanna wait until it's on the agenda?
Let's
At the
do it
end?
now.
Just do it, okay,
Not
so,
going off our plate here.
okay, so is there a motion to support this application for,
I so move.
okay,
I second.
all right, any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carry. Okay, Matt, there you have it.
Well, thank you for your support. I'm real excited to work with you on this.
Okay, and thanks for calling in.
Okay, well, thank you. Have a great evening.
Okay, bye-bye, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Back to department reports. Stephen?
January was pretty busy, for this year. Been pretty steady with plowing and sanding. I figured up from January 1st, February 10th, we made about a third more trips out than what we did last year in a block of time. Been busy this year. Doesn't look like it's gonna slow down much for a while either. I didn't put on there, but I'm sure everyone's seen in the news where road salt is starting to become a bit of an issue with different areas and supply and things like that. We've been getting ours, but it's very slow coming. It's makes it challenging to try and get it. They were hauling it from over 4 hours away to us. So we could get, like, each truck could get one load a day was pretty much it. And they have, the last we've gotten has been coming out of Bridgeport. From the way the truckers are telling me, American Rock Salt purchased, salt from one of their competitors at Bridgeport so that they had more available. To my understanding, down there at the mines in Mount Morris, they're loading it out of the ground right into the trucks now. Their piles are gone. That it's like 2 to 3 hour wait to get a truck loaded now. So, well, trucks are waiting in line like 2 to 3 hours. They can't. So hopefully that it keeps coming. We'll see. We did receive our work zone safety equipment that Lumen Hanson had filled the grant out for. Everything came. So that was good. We did get the new shop lift delivered quite a lot ahead of schedule, but the guys pretty much, if they're in the shop working, they use it pretty much every day. Which this year hasn't been very often, pretty much. I think they're living in their trucks right now. They spend more time in the plow trucks than they do at home a lot of days. Today we started, today we started going around pushing back some intersections and dump areas at intersections from the plows to try to make more room. But that all, other than snow plowing, pretty much this month, that's all I've got for you. Pretty much, or a little more.
Groundhog saw a shadow, so get ready.
Okay, any questions, comments? All right, thanks Lee and Stephen. Casey, historian.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm brand new. My name's Casey Dennis. I'm the historian. I don't have a lot to report. I've been there about 2.5 weeks right now, so most of the time it's just been familiarizing myself with the office and the archives that we have, and then really immersing myself in the history. I've reached out to some of the other local historians to introduce myself with plans to meet up in person soon. And then there was a couple people interested in some of their ancestors that grew up in the area and they live out of state, so I started researching that for them. But I think the thing that most people are going to be interested in is I've set the new office hours. The office is going to be open Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 AM to 3 PM and Thursday from 1 PM to 6 PM. So we're going to experiment with having a later office hour for people that want to come in after work. And then people can contact me to set up appointments outside of that time. That's
Okay,
all I have.
any questions? All right, great. Thank you, Casey, and welcome. Okay, so Cindy's usually on Zoom. That's not possible tonight. Mike couldn't be here. He got called away to another event, unexpectedly. And Megan is not able to be here. So, okay, so I need a motion to accept the department reports, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Okay, committee reports.
The E-code committee met. And took us about 2 hours, but we went through all the comments from the state and left our comments. It was pretty much complete when we left, although Mike was gonna get in touch with Cindy because there was a number of questions about exemptions. And so, yeah, went fairly smooth. We'll be able to ship that off for the state to have them address our comments and then hopefully we'll get a completed code.
Okay, other committees?
Well, Complete Streets met on Monday. One of the things, and it actually I had to put on is, Kara became a village trustee, I guess, so she's no longer on the Complete Streets, so they had an opening. And they've been trying for a couple months to try to get, Klaus on, so he's up for appointment, or from us. Also, we talked about, a couple of things, talked about the master trail program and then the trail trying to connect, Taylor Park to Remington, and that's gonna be our, like a point of emphasis at the next meeting. And they also, passed a resolution of recommendations, for signage and I have copies for you guys afterwards, for Minor Street, again, request a speed limit. They understand the difficulties we have with all that, but they wanted to be on record saying that it would be nice if we could reduce the speed limit to 30. That's up to the DOT. pedestrian crossing we have, you know, and different things for safety and to reinforce the fact that it's a originally to aid pedestrians and bicyclists to get from downtown to Taylor Park. So I have copies, so I'll pass them out after, so.
Then, I think the DOT already went out, but then they couldn't finish the study to reduce the speed limit, right? And they have to come back, they were gonna come back after Minor Street Road was complete.
Right.
So,
I have copies here too. I just have it Monday, so I can catch it. I stopped over and nobody was there. I don't know what you were doing. But with all the snow we were at.
okay, others?
Well, building committee met a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm,
We talked about getting the parking lot paved this spring. Steven sat in with us. Thank you for coming to that, by the way. And we're trying to find a way forward to get that done this spring, so. Talked about that. We talked about, new furniture for the boardroom here. We talked about new ceiling tiles for the boardroom. Talked about quite a few things. That was about it for building committee.
mm-hmm.
And I know you all probably saw in Heidi's report that she's creating a space on the website for, the reval information to live. So, I'll let her speak to that at another meeting, but she
I was
just,
gonna bring that up in the.
she just wanted us
communication.
to bring it up. Yeah. Do you have any more from communication technology you wanna share?
No, that was the big, I mean, the big thing of is make a point that we're gonna try to put it on the webpage as a pop-up so that it's gonna be very visible.
Mhm.
To have it look why we're gonna have one, what it actually thinks, and people think it's 100%. My house is gonna be now assessed at 100% value, so therefore my taxes there's gonna jump up, you know, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, and explain exactly what it's gonna be, and we want it to be available right from the beginning when you, line up our site, we wanna have, you know,
Mhm.
reval, this is it, this is explanation and everything.
We don't want people to have to hunt for it.
I didn't hear you.
We don't want
John.
to have people have to hunt for it on the website.
Yeah, yeah. And we're pretty close to having the information all done and ready to be put up on a link. There will be a video that Gar has created explaining the process. Yeah, so. Okay,
I don't know what kind of committee it was we made at the last, at the joint meeting to go over the, comprehensive plan. But we met on that, we got through chapter 5.
oh,
We
okay.
still have to get through 6 and 7, so we've scheduled another meeting for March.
Yeah.
And,
March 11th.
yep, so what we've done is we went through the matrix and went through each one, different bullet points. And what we're trying to do is what we spoke of at that meeting is we're trying to get, measurable and attainable goals for the 2025 calendar year. So that we can sit down, so we can announce it. We're hoping to have it done by the April joint meeting where we can set what our goals are gonna be, and then we'll sit down at the December one and we'll go over, let you know what we accomplished, hopefully everything, but. So that,
Wasn't that bad?
oh no, it's only a little over 2 hours and we had 2 more chapters to go.
Right.
Well, thank you for all your time. The
2 hour meeting.
Sustainability Committee met on, the 4th and, you know, they're still plugging away, to have that Fix It fair, in May at the pavilion, and they're still looking for people to volunteer, and it's gonna be kind of like a full day festival. So, yeah. Any other committees?
Solar committee is trying to get a meeting together, hopefully before the end of the month. But we will need executive session to discuss some of the points of the negotiations that we're having with them.
Okay. And the policy committee, we need to, get together and I'll email you and we'll set a date and time.
Rec, what is there in rec? Other than her report,
You had a
She
recreation
gave-
committee meeting?
we had a recreation committee meeting. She gave a preliminary, her preliminary budget, which is actually still in the discussion stages. So there's nothing to report on that yet. And other than that, her report is pretty much, she's going to try to expand some of the summer program grant, see if we can expand that. She's got, grants to improve Buck Street, looking to improve the Buck
Oh,
Street
did they get
playground.
that grant?
I don't know that.
50,000?
I don't know. I said she's
She
applied for it.
applied for it.
She's applied.
She
Oh,
for it.
that she applied for it, yeah, but she hasn't
So,
heard yet.
That came up.
That's a great playground.
Ice revenue is up this year, this December compared to last December by a considerable amount. And she's looking to have another end of the year kind of bounce house kind of thing. And she'll need someone else in the dunk booth.
Don't be looking at me.
I did my time.
Did you hear any more? Like, get an update on the outdoor rink? Heard any more on that?
I haven't heard any more on that. They're trying to get a second water supply into it's the village, but trying to get a second water supply into the Zamboni room so they can get it out to the rink without having to run through, they have water issues.
Thought they were looking at putting a hydrant out there.
Well, the hydrant, I think the problem was the hydrant is a freeze. We were having issues with the hydrant and they weren't sure wasn't gonna work.
I don't know, the one down by the water plant seemed to work all winter long.
Well, I can only tell you, and so they're looking to just run cause I guess they have a few issues with water, which I suppose they lose the hot water and
Well, that's the boiler,
so what they're hoping is they can get a second water line in there to help alleviate some of the issues they have with the boiler. I don't know.
A lot of volunteers spend a lot of time putting that all together, no water to flood it.
You mean for the
For
outside
the
rink?
outside rink,
That's why there's not an outside rink because of the water?
well, water is an issue, I guess.
Hmm,
we'll talk later.
that's too bad.
River
right.
runs right by.
Any other committee reports? All right, with that being said, old business. All right, we talked about Zoom discussion at our last meeting, so. Do we want to continue that discussion?
Case in point.
Zoom discussion.
So I think the biggest, was, do we want to allow public comment from people on Zoom?
Yes,
Am I correct on that?
that's where we left off the
Yeah.
class.
Yeah, and Brady sent me some information that came directly from the state. And basically what it says that if we do any kind of video conferencing or Zoom, say because or if we do it, we can keep it so that, nobody can comment from the outside. However, if a board member is missing for whatever reason and they want to Zoom into the meeting, then that has to be announced prior to it, and everybody is going to have an opportunity then to get involved. Once you open it, if you're gonna open it up for one, you have to open it up. You have to open it up for all.
Would you have to advertise where the board member is?
You
No,
asked, I think she said that, yes, I think
She
she said. you have
said
to
that,
tell
but I
them
don't
location.
believe that, the way I read it,
I got the
that's
same
not-
email.
that was not the case. You have to notify the public, where the meeting is gonna be taking place, but yeah, I don't believe you have to notify the public where that board member,
Hmm,
physically is.
Hmm,
I think there was some,
Eric, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been so long since I've looked at
I
the,
thought, okay,
at that change to the statute, because it seems like it's very rarely being used these days, because the administrative burdens of doing it were substantial. If you want, I can check, I haven't looked at it in
she called the state and
3
sent us
years.
an email on it. Heidi did.
So are you saying more and more people are not using Zoom? for
I'm
public
saying
meetings?
more and more people are not using Zoom.
yeah,
People are, there are some who use it like just for people to watch. But in terms of board members participating via Zoom, it has become exceedingly rare.
and, I understand the reasoning behind it. I mean, how it got started was COVID.
Right,
And without Zoom, which was turned out to be a very good tool. We were still able to meet, conduct business and whatever. After that, you know, we went back to like regular business. But kept Zoom. You know. The other problem I'm having right now with Zoom is that if you look at it, it is writing what I'm saying up there.
The closed captioning you're talking about?
Correct. And that shows up
Yeah,
for anybody to see.
right. And it's not always accurate.
It's not up, there's the
There,
problem.
there was some
It's-
swear words.
That's right.
From the
And,
last
and
meeting.
one of them was associated to me. And I did not say what was put up there.
Yeah.
And so unless, you know, I
And
can be
his picture
assured,
was on it.
unless I can be assured of what I'm saying is what's going to appear up there. I'm gonna be very reluctant, even though I'm talking right now, I'm gonna be very reluctant to talk.
Mhm.
Because what that printed, I certainly did not say.
No, you did not.
And so, and it got pointed out to Heidi that they said, I cannot believe Jim said that. And Heidi said, well, he didn't. I'm gonna tell you, the way things are today,
Mm-hmm,
if somebody sees that in print right there,
mm-hmm.
I don't care. I can't defend myself with that because they're gonna take that as the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is, the way things are now. And they say, well, it printed out what you said. Well, it wasn't what I said, so I'm having a problem right now supporting Zoom at all for that reason.
But the recording did not. It's the closed captioning that was wrong. But if somebody watched the recording,
Correct.
you did
And-
not say that.
And as Heidi said,
Do it without the closed captioning?
Hmm?
Can't you do it without the closed captioning?
the way I do it for Cindy. And I mean, yeah. And that's
Yeah.
the reasoning there for that. And, yeah. So,
Okay, so,
But I understand where you're coming from, but that has nothing to do with public comment or not. That's a different topic.
well, what I'm saying is right now, I'm not excited about having Zoom, period.
Did you say a lot of
Be-
towns are not using Zoom at all, or
A lot
not?
of towns are not
public
using
comment.
Zoom at all.
And so,
at all,
At
right?
all.
At all, not even, yeah,
Maybe we should explore just using it if a board member can't be here and they really wanna participate in a meeting.
well,
Might be the only time we would use it and we would publicize that's gonna happen.
mhm.
so,
Because, the meetings are recorded on a different, recorder, right, Tasha? So the recordings are there with the minutes. And I don't know how long you have to keep that
There would be,
recording.
there would be on the website afterward,
I don't know.
right? The recording would be, right now, you can watch our meetings on the website, right? I can watch them on North Country Now anyway,
Yeah, they're published. They're, yeah,
so will they continue to be published on the recordings?
that would be a third question. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not speaking on anything already.
Yeah. So, all right, so do we wanna table this again? Let Eric do a little research too, and, we can ask Heidi about that recording?
What research are we having them do? I mean, Heidi got an answer for us, right? He's telling us right now that a lot of the other towns aren't using it anymore.
Mhm.
I'd
It was a
wanna,
tool for COVID.
I'd wanna
It was.
know, I think it's a positive thing that somebody who can't make a meeting can see our meetings after the fact, or
I can agree with you on it. Listen.
well, I'm not saying, I'm saying if that recording can make it so that somebody who can't make it tonight or can watch it later, I think that's, transparency like that's always good, I think.
Well, it'll just be auditory.
That's fine,
Yeah.
as long as it's available.
Yeah,
Here we are tonight. We had a plan to actually use it or
Mhm.
something, and we can't.
Mhm. But we're not sure what because this is the same link that we've been using for every meeting, so I'm not sure what happened.
Well, it's not necessarily our error, but there was another time when, last year I was in Florida and I zoomed in
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't because the link was wrong.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't for Megan telling me, so
To get on a
so I
different
called in.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was sitting in a waiting room
Yeah,
in Florida, waiting to join the meeting. It was
Yeah.
a joint meeting with the village.
mhm. Well, I don't like it when people, just put up their phone numbers and you don't know who is listening and, we did get photobombed a couple times. I think our very first meeting we had Zoom, it was bad. It was, it was, it was really
I think one of
embarrassing.
my first meetings we got.
We got bombed,
Yeah.
so.
I think
Okay, so what do you wanna do? I see the value, but I also would want people here. If they really are interested, I know it is convenient.
I would only be against or not having the Zoom, again, what I said is if somebody who's not here would have access to what happened here. Being able to hear what was said, at least being able to hear what was said. So I'd wanna hear from Heidi, if that's a doable thing, before I'd wanna say, for me personally, before I'd wanna say yes or no on it.
Okay. Wayne, thoughts?
Pretty much the same thing Randy said. I mean, it's a great tool, but
Okay, so we'll table it until we hear from Heidi and, we'll ask her to, email the board about it prior to next month's meeting. Okay, set public hearing for dog license law. We had talked about this last month. Were we set on doing it for April? April, okay. And so we would have to get out the legal notice 10 days in advance? Okay. All right, so do we wanna set it for the, 5:55 at the April meeting?
Sure.
Okay, I think we need a motion to that effect. Somebody wanna make that motion? To schedule the public hearing for the dog license increase law, for April 9th at 5:55.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried, okay. All right, and then the firefighters exemption law for May. Is that what we talked about last month? That would be May 14th. You wanna do the same time?
Yeah.
5:55 on May 14th for the public hearing? For the firefighters exemption law.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, good. Okay, if you recall, at the end of last year, we needed to take a loan from DB to DA, and now we need to pay it back. So I need a motion to approve the loan repayment to DB account from DA of $67,391. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, concerns, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody say aye. I didn't hear. Okay. All right, the budget amendments. Tasha, can you please bring those up? So as Angela stated, we were trying to reconcile the 2024 budget, but there's some things that need to occur to make it a little bit better. So there's the JCAP grant, that's an in and out grant, but we should add it to the revenue and the expense line. And then the ARPA federal aid money, we need to do the same thing. The $10,000 that was for the security in the clerk's office. And then in the B fund, same thing, the revenue line for the, Minor Street grant, Willow Island grant, remember it's one grant with two projects. So we need to add that to revenue and expense line of 67,790. And then the DB fund, we need to move the contingency line item of 31,513.50 to the DB, construction, line item. And then we need to decrease DB contractual of 18,000 and increase the construction line at 18,000, and that'll bring it down. Those two items will help because of the Debbie storm. There's a balance on that line of about 66,000, and now it'll bring it down substantially. I've already talked to Stephen about this. So, is there a motion to do these budget amendments?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried, okay. All right, thank you. The Barton and LaJudas Professional, under new business, the Barton and LaJudas Professional Services for Commercial Scale Solar Review Services Amendment. If you recall,
Can we move this to executive session also?
this one?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Because it's
absolutely.
it's a professional services agreement.
Yep.
So
Yep, no problem. The town clerk. So Windows 11 is coming up. And if you don't have a computer that's compatible, then you need to get a new computer. So there's two computers in the clerk's office that need to be replaced. We did not budget for it. We weren't even thinking that far ahead. So we need to replace two new computers. So I'm looking for board support to be able to do that, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna pay for it. Most likely,
Do you get prices?
not yet, but they're probably gonna run around $1,300 to $1,400. We just purchased one for Cindy's, assessor and Mike McQuaid's, and that was around $1,300 each. Through ABS.
You said these are desktop?
These are two desktops.
Okay.
Yeah. And now the boxes are like really small. It's really weird, but,
You
yeah.
don't have to put the monitor on top of the big old beast anymore?
Well, they got some creative ways of where their monitors are, so. May I have a motion to approve, these expenditures?
So move.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried.
Aye.
Okay, we already did the community development block grant, request. We need to, pass the hold harmless resolution. We do this every year for St. Lawrence County, Highway Department. So is there a motion to pass that resolution?
so moved.
Second? All in,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, carried, okay. There's the dog fee. Okay, as I said earlier, Randy, added this to the agenda to appoint Klaus Prum, to the Complete Streets Committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? I was trying to remember, I already talked to Randy about this, how long ago Complete Streets was created? And have we been appointing right along, even though the town is not codified? And it dates back to, I think, 2018, 2019. Maybe Jim, you remember, was it earlier than that? 2018, the Complete Streets was created, and yeah, I tried to research that, so. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? Okay, great. All right, now is the time for public comment. This is the time for the board to listen. It's not a back and forth. If there's any public comment, we're here to listen. If you can identify yourself and limit it to 3 minutes, that would be helpful. So is there any public comment?
Me. I met Casey today, and we had
Do you want to identify yourself?
Linda Casterly.
Okay,
Retired this morning. They know where I live.
Can you speak up, Linda, so everybody
Yes,
can hear you?
I met with Casey today and am very impressed and happy that he has the job. And we talked and I told him he could always call me if he needed help. And I'm gonna be doing research anymore, because I'm a taxpayer and I have to still research. Okay? We had a
Okay,
nice visit and I like the 6 o'clock night one. That'll,
wait, what'd you just say?
I like that it has 6 o'clock night one. I couldn't do that because I had too many kids. So, it was a nice visit and, if Gary needs help, I'm willing to help,
Okay,
okay?
great, thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, with that being said, it is 7:10. I make a motion to go into executive session for labor contract negotiations, solar negotiations, the Slick agreement, and now the Barton and the Judas agreement. Is there a second? Second by Wayne. All in favor, say aye. Aye, carried. Okay. All right. Good luck, Stephen, tomorrow.